Could you tell me if and when the cap is ever put down, will that mean that Peninsula Harbour will then be a candidate for delisting?
Yes.
And if it is, it shouldn't be, because the larger area out into the main lake, it includes almost 5 miles, I think, of the area outside there, will still be polluted. And so far, as I know, over the years, there's never been any, the odd time they go down and take samples of the bottom. And one of the highest areas is between the point of the mill and the island, the next island over, right out in the middle in 400 feet of water. And if you cap the one part, how can you delist it if the rest of it is still polluted?
Well, I guess we can't if people in Marathon don't want to go down that road. So it's a communication that, and this is why, you know, public input into areas of concern is so important, because it's a discussion with the community and it's ensuring that people's input is considered. I won't bring that forward as a recommendation unless the public in Marathon and stakeholders are supportive, because it won't go anywhere. The first question that I'll get asked by the International Joint Commission is, well, what kind of public input did you get, and were the people on board? And if they're not, then that's the end of it. So what we need to do is, after the cap is done, is figure out, you know, it's not going to be perfect, and you're never going to have, like, in nowhere, I can guarantee there's no environmental cleanup that solves everything. In Thunder Bay, cleaned up Northern Wood Preserve site, there's still pockets of contamination there, because it's just not feasible. I mean, we're spending taxpayers' money here. We're not going to get every little bit of contamination, because it would cost an exorbitant amount of money. We're having a hard enough getting the $6 million that we need for this project, which, you know, to people in this room may sound like a lot of money, but there's other contaminated site projects in Ontario that are $800 million.
Why isn't that told to the people at these meetings?
Well, I wasn't at the meetings when the environmental risk assessment was presented, but that should have been a message that was delivered to people at that point, is that the solution that's being proposed, and any of the solutions that would have been on the table at any point in time, wouldn't reduce risk to zero, because you almost, I mean, you really, I was going to say you never can, but I don't know if that's true. But you almost, like, it's difficult to do that. It's a technological challenge. It's an additional expense. So you have to look at, you know, what area can we manage where we're going to get the biggest bang for our buck? What can we do so that we're going to decrease the risk to an acceptable level? And the way that this project has moved forward has been based on, you know, a study that was done, the conclusions and the recommendations that, you know, Ontario and Canada had at the time, that if you take care of the problem in this area, it's going to give you, you know, this level of reduction, and that's acceptable from an environmental and a human health standpoint, and you can proceed based on that. So in terms of the overall area of concern, like, I think there's other issues. There's probably fish habitat issues, and, you know, we need to look at, like, I don't even really like to talk about delisting because it sounds like too much of a tick box. I think, you know, we need to sit back as a group and look at, you know, have we done our job at restoring this ecosystem? And maybe it's not the way that it was 500 years ago, but is it reasonable? Like, has the job been done to our satisfaction? And if it's not, then at that point, let's talk about what else we